Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tevaron, and welcome back to Torment Tides of Numenera Beta. We are trying to find a cult of the Changing God, I believe we were told, who is someone who once owned our body, it seems, and left us as a cast-off, and that cult is supposed to be in this area somewhere. And I may be wrong, but these people, I would say they're the cultists, seeing as how they look like robed cultists, but the fact that they have Changing God Cultist as their name, I think that's kind of a hint that that's who they are. Let's find out. Look, it's one of the Death Cheetah's vessels. Ah, can it be? What fortune, what joy. Castman will want to see you, vessel. And Mimian, too. Alright, who are Castman and Mimian, pray tell? We have knowledge of all your brethren cast off. That is all but a few. And, where are these named cultists you told me of? You've come to the right place. Of all your sire's cults, ours is the first and greatest. Well, tell me how to find these people I'm supposed to talk to, please. You should speak to Castman and Mimian, vessel. They are first among your sire's faithful. Well, how do I speak to them? Where are they? You feel a slight tugging in the corner of your mind when gazing upon this symbol. This body that's in two colors? Okay. Well, none of these cultists have a unique name. Oh, I suppose that is you. Well, since you were mentioned first, let's speak to you, Castman. As you approach the duo, you see that they are arguing heatedly, but quietly. The petite woman turns toward you. Her hair is unusual, a light, almost yellow color, and her bright eyes dominate her pretty face. Excuse me, sir. My friend and I were having a discussion and... Her eyes fall upon your tattoo, and her breath catches audibly in her throat. Her partner is an unnaturally tall man, gaunt and sour-faced, his voice sonorous, with fingers that twitch and weave through strange contortions, occasional light sparks in the air as he does. He seems intent on continuing the argument, and he hasn't noticed her pause. We know about the time shields. Everyone in the city does. But ask a random passerby about his lesser-known deeds, and you will receive, at best, a blank stare. Watch. He turns to you and opens his mouth to speak, registers your tattoo, and closes it again. His throat bobs for a moment, and he says, "It is an honor." He collects himself. If I might impose on your time for a moment, will you tell me about your tattoo? How did you shape it? Do you know why it differs from the others? Okay. You mean other cast-offs? Yes, revered one, your siblings. He bows deeply, and his fingers spark with a repressed joy. You are a child of the Changing God. His mind saw the world through your eyes. He gained knowledge in your body, as he has done countless times over the centuries. The tattoo on your head marks you. We theorize it has a role to play in his creation of you, his cast-off shells. You are welcome here, revered one. We stand ready to serve as we can. Have you any questions for us? Yes. Who the hell are you? He considers your words before answering. A thoughtful pause. I am Mimian. I am one of the leaders of the cult of the Changing God in Sage's Cliffs, and my primary duty is as Chief Archivist. My colleague is Casman. She is responsible for the day-to-day administration of our encampment. So, what can you tell me about the city? The city your sire built and defended, the cradle of civilization, the center of the empire of knowledge? His eyebrows rise, and his slow tone is effusive. It is among the greatest creations of humanity in the ninth world. Built on the foundations laid by unknown creators, it has risen to become one of the preeminent cities on Garvash Sound. He pauses. It is somewhat diminished in these later years, to be sure. Perhaps if the Changing God were to return to lead us to glory. Do you know anything about the sorrow? Casman shudders and touches herself ritualistically on the forehead and on her lips. A monster of deepest nightmare. I have heard that it wants you dead. Every one of the Holy One's creations, all dead. I don't know why, but it hates you. Okay, good to be hated then. Can you tell me about the meaning of my tattoo? Oh, well, you told me. I wanted to know what you were saying about it being different. Yes, he wears bodies like clothes. Thank you so much. What can you tell me about my sire? You mean the most accomplished inventor of our time? The hero of Sage's Cliffs? The man who dodged death itself? The Time Weaver? The man who destroyed the Tabat? Oh, we have so much to say. She catches herself, but perhaps we should wait for another time. Okay. No time like the present, but I won't push you, I suppose, especially since I don't have that option in conversation. Do you know anything about a device called a resonance chamber? Rumor and conjecture, nothing more. Idle speculation from those who wish to pretend knowledge of your sire's motivations, passed along as fact. He leans out to touch you. Have you seen it? Do you know where it is? What it does? I don't know anything about the resonance chamber, but I was told you might. He smiles slightly and spreads his hands in apology. Not as much as I should like, but we of the cult of the Changing God have ways to find answers. It is said by those loyal to your sire that it is the solution to the sorrow, the creature that hunts you all. His eyes trawl your face, and it seems as if he is on the verge of understanding something. We don't know how, though. She bows her head slightly. We take this as an article of faith. The resonance chamber will save you. He looks sharply at you now, all distraction gone. I do not recognize you, he says. You do not match any descriptions we have recorded. Cassaman snaps her fingers as if she is finally figuring out a mystery. Wait, let me remember your face. She studies you carefully. Oh my, you're new. Are you the Changing God? Can it be? She reaches out to touch your sleeve and pulls her hand back quickly. I don't know if I'm the Changing God or not. Maybe I am the Changing God and my brain is damaged or my mind is damaged. I don't think I am, though. Memnon nods, satisfied. As I thought, you are a cast-off, one of his children. He touches you with his long-fingered hand as if in consolation. "There is no shame in such a thing. Many cast-offs have come to our attention, and some of them have sought to deceive us so that they might seem more important." He smiles softly. "If you are as new as we suspect, it is better for you, for us, to know the truth of your existence than to bluster and lie." Crestfallen, Catherine touches your shoulder. Are you sure you're not?" She catches herself. "No. Why would you lie about that?" With a noticeable effort, she wrenches herself into optimism, and she chirps. "But you're new, aren't you? You're new. Have you decided what you'll do? What you'll be? Your sire's other children have done amazing things. Amazing. And no doubt you will as well." Memnon lays a hand on her shoulder, and his voice is low, cautionary. "Cass." She looks away from you for a moment, swallowing sudden tears, and he says, "We have a request for you." He gestures toward the clock behind him. "Dark figures circumambulate these clock faces. I theorize that your sire's creation of the time shields that protected this city established a connection with his future selves. Given this, we believe these figures may be cast-offs. Or ghosts of cast-offs, perhaps. The living shells of the bodies your creator has worn previously." His fingers shrug eloquently for him. "The clock is unmoored in time, you see. We do not have a knowledge sufficient to investigate. But you might. You have a connection with he who created the clock. You should be able to align it with the present time, and uncover who these figures are." A gentle, rare smile appears. "If you cannot, at least you will increase our store of knowledge." So, just piecing together what we know so far, we may be the changing God. The memory that we received may have been of the changing God's creation when he combined his mind with the Tabat general. That may be the persona that is the changing God. Casimir smiles bravely, looking between Memnon and you, and says, "And then we can answer the questions you must have. Right, Mem?" "Okay. Do you have any idea at all how to fix the clock?" "We have tried. I have appealed to the Order of Truth. I have spoken with eminent seekers of knowledge. We have sent for wisdom from as far as the Steadfast. A great achievement, you must agree. None have given us an answer. We believe your sire created the device, or had a hand in it, perhaps." Dismay dances across his fingers. His hungry-eyed compatriot steps in. "Perhaps you can find an answer where others have failed, and then we can help you." She turns away. "You will have our boundless gratitude, revered one." Okay. And they wish me luck. Very well. We shall solve this puzzle. But first, we shall save. Alright, save complete. Updated my journal. This complex machine towers over you. Its purpose is unclear, but the three circular faces set into the ground remind you of clocks. Something is wrong with the machine, however. It's partially transparent, shimmering in the air when you look directly at it. The clock faces seem to show several different times at once. Humanoid silhouettes ripple beneath the central clock face. One places his hand against the face, as though it were a glass wall, and they seem to be watching you. Alright, examine the machine. The towering mechanism wavers in the air. Similar to Callistag, it appears to be in several states at once, though all of the machine's states appear to be in the exact same location. You can't touch it either. Your hand passes right through the structure. Oh, blurry? As you pull your hand away, a memory strikes you as powerfully as if someone took a club to your chest. You are working at the clock. It is no longer transparent, but perfectly solid. There is a noise behind you. So they've come. The 3 traitors. They think to surprise you. But through the powers of the clock, you have foreseen this moment. There is the faintest sound of metal sliding against leather. You slap a hand on the central clock face, activating the clock's arcane powers. You're not sure what it will do to them, but it's better than what they'll do to you. There is a flash. Arcs of energy stretch out from the clock, over your shoulders to your would-be attackers. You don't see what happens to them, but they quickly disappear, along with their screams. As the last shreds of the memory fade, a swirl of energy passes through your body. Cold barbs prick every muscle. Suddenly, tidal forces arc from your body to 3 other locations in the cultist encampment. The machine recognized something inside you, or maybe vice versa. Either way, you have inadvertently activated several nearby devices. Okay, let's examine the machine one more time, shall we? The machine wobbles in the air, seeming to be in several states at once. It makes you a little sick to look at it. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm going to step away and I want to talk to my companions. Let's talk to Callisteg first. Let's see, let's ask how she's feeling. How are you feeling again, Callisteg? We get along more easily than I do with most, to be certain. Okay, and what do you think we should do next? As much as I despise religious fanaticism, it seems that Casimir and Mimion are our most likely routes to success. Let us complete the tasks they set. We'll find our answers through them. Okay, so you're not going to comment on this clock then. That's all I wanted to know. What about you, sir? Aye, lad. How are you holding up, Tiber? I'm fine. I just hope you won't regret our friendship when the time comes to part ways. No, I think we'll be fine unless you stab me in the back. So, what do you think we should do next? What were you doing when we found each other? Looking for someone to fix your Numenera chamber. Let's do that. Okay, well, so you guys are a big load of no help. Alright, what are these other objects that got activated around the camp? Let's look at this one. As you approach this device, Circus Minor is thrown into chaos. Buildings are on fire. People are screaming and running for their lives, while armored soldiers hunt them. None of them seem to pay attention to you, though. It's some kind of vision, not reality. Or at least not reality as it is at this moment. You glance down at the device. A series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Well, look more closely at the changes, please. Circus Minor is under attack. Squads of armored soldiers roam the streets, hunting and killing anyone they find. Mobs of people flee in terror, with only a few hapless souls trying, and failing, to fight them off. The soldiers are completely encased in jagged metal armor. You can't even tell if they're human. Looking beyond the carnage, the square in this vision looks wildly different. Many of the buildings that are on fire didn't exist at all when you step away from the device. Or don't exist at all, rather. Having been replaced by other structures. Alright. I'm going to look one more time to make sure it's just going to repeat itself. Okay, so this is a bit different. Circus Minor is under attack. Squads of armored soldiers hunt down the fleeing masses. The buildings around the square are on fire, though none of them are remotely the same as the buildings that stand today. You get the feeling the Sage's Cliffs in this vision is ancient. These events could have occurred as much as 1,000 years ago. Let's look at the images on the surface of the device. As soon as you focus on them, you feel a warmth on your head where your tattoo is. The images respond to your thoughts, slowing and changing at your whim. It's something about your body that allows you to do this, which perhaps means that only you can even see the images. You immediately recognize the pictures as pieces of memory, specifically the 3 memories you saw back in the fathoms of your mind. Oh. Okay. So when we were creating our character. All right. Well, let's look at these in order then. The underwater city. The memory is recent. 2 men, both with tattoos like your own, are in an underwater city searching for something. The denizens of the city chase them from the artifact they seek and ultimately surround and capture them. As you review the memory, you get a strange feeling in your mind that you can only describe as query. The device wants something from you. Suddenly, you remember. The memories in the device are possibilities, but you can lock one of the memories here, so it is the only one that displays. You don't remember what purpose that served, though. Okay. Let's look at the Lush Valley next. Somehow, you know the memory is from a long time ago. Centuries ago, probably. A man and a woman, both with tattoos like your own, are surveying a lush, secluded valley, seeking an ideal location for a hidden sanctuary. Look at the memory of the city under siege. Somehow, you know this memory is ancient. It might have occurred 1,000 years ago. A man and a young girl race through the streets of Sage's Cliffs. All around them, the city is attacked by a terrible people, the Tevaron, you recall. The man takes them to an ancient machine somewhere in the city. Then he and the girl disappear. So I guess we match it to what we see around us, which is the besieged city. The images of the man and the girl are the only ones that play across the surface of this device. They run past the enemy soldiers and then disappear at the machine in an endless loop. Alright. Look closely at the changes again. Okay, under attack. Okay. Well, leave this one alone. Let's find the others and see if we can do something with them as well. Oh, this is one here. A strange feeling comes over you as you approach this device, as if someone were sneaking up on you in the corner of your eye. When you look, there is no one there. It feels like something is different though, but you can't put your finger on what. A series of images flit across the surface of the device itself. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Okay. Look more closely at the changes around you. The changes are difficult to notice at first, but after a moment, you figure it out. Circus Minor is the same, but the crowd is different. Most of the people in the stalls and buildings are not the same as those you've seen around the square. Those few you do recognize are notably younger by many years. Okay, if my conjecture is right, that we're supposed to lock in what we see, then we need to lock in the recent memory. Images of the two men in the underwater city are now the only images that play on the surface of this device. They search for something, are chased, and then captured, over and over again, in an endless loop. As soon as the image is locked in place, a ribbon of energy stretches into the air, connecting the control device to the clock. Okay, leave it alone. Did the ribbon of energy happen on the last one? I don't know. Let's do the third device. As you approach this device, Circus Minor changes around you. People are dressed differently and speak differently. Whole new structures appear, including an enormous building rising from the edge of the square. You look down at the device. A series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Look more closely at the changes around you. Circus Minor looks almost completely different. All the people are dressed strangely, and though they speak the truth, they use many terms and phrases that you don't understand. The square has changed as well. All of the tents are gone. The buildings are more colorful and less weathered. One building in particular rises from the edge of the square. A tower of purple rock, some 50 stories high. A mural is painted on the side, though you can't see the details from here. Alright, then this should be the centuries-old memory. The images of the man and woman in the valley are now the only images that play across the surface of this device. They survey the valley in an endless loop. As soon as you lock this third image, a final surge of energy arcs through the air from the device to the clock itself. The clock shines for a moment, then becomes solid, fixed into a single state. At the same time, the device in front of you goes dark. The images disappear, as does the strange view of the city's past, and we gain 3 experience. So we have an addendum to our journal. Oh, we fixed the clock, it looks like. Looks more like a metronome to me than a clock. Though I suppose they're technically similar things, both count time. The machine is solid now. Each of the 3 clock faces shows a single time, though none of them point to any time measurement that you understand. You lean closer to the central clock face. 3 shadowy figures still lurk within, their features almost discernible now. Suddenly, the figures surge out of the clock toward you. Intense pressure strikes your head like a steel spike, then everything goes black. So that doesn't sound good, does it? The next scene in the game is not included in the beta content. In the final game, you'll wake up in a new fathom of the labyrinth and meet 3 cast-offs. Casmos, Divitiaku, who we've heard of before if I am remembering correctly, and Valen. They will teach you about foci, selections of abilities unique to your character. Since their fathom hasn't been implemented yet, you can choose your focus here. Note that you'll have more options in the final game. Well, that's to be expected. Can't have everything in this early on, I suppose. So, we can choose brandishes a silver tongue, which will aid us with persuasion, intimidation, and leadership. That seems to go along with what we're trying to do. We can choose Master's Defense for defensive combat abilities, or Breathe Shadow for sneaking, backstabbing, finding vulnerabilities, and pressing that advantage. I am a conversation type person, so I will be brandishing a silver tongue.
Excellent. Now return to Casimon and Mimion. They will want to hear what happened to you.
Okay, old man, leave me alone. I can handle this. Let's talk to these nerds. You fixed the clock. I knew you could do it. I knew it. She shoots a triumphant smile at Mimion. You must tell us what you saw. Who were those figures? Were they cast-offs? What did they say? Were you able to retrieve them?
Patience, Cass. We must first congratulate our guest.
He turns to you.
Masterfully done, revered one. A performance worthy of your sire.
He bows gravely to you.
You are most welcome here. And we do have answers for your questions, revered one. That is, as soon as we hear the report of what you have found.
You guys sound like you're using me and are not going to hold up your end of the bargain. I don't like that. You may regret it. Tell us. She is nearly breathless with excitement. Who were those figures? I met Kamos, Divitiaku, and Valen. Or we can lie and say they pulled us in. We were in a labyrinth and I did not see their faces or learn their names. Let's tell them. Sure. Disappointment creases her face. I know those names. They're not new to us. They were favored servants of your creator, cast-offs who served him well. Indeed, Divitiaku brought the Order of Truth to Sage's Cliffs, but they betrayed their holy trust and disappeared. Nevertheless, we will honor our arrangement. You've sought answers about who might repair the resonance chamber. We know that your sire built it with the aid of another cast-off, still unknown to us. Perhaps one of your siblings might know where to find him or her. Are you kidding me? Doggone it, they told me that you guys would know. I know of only one other cast-off still in the city. The albino assassin, McKenna. They call her the White Death. She wore a camouflaging cloak and brought destruction in her wake. The last I heard of her, she was in the underbelly. He restrains a shudder. Seek her, but be wary. Okay. Well, we gained 100 experience, so that's a lot better than the little tidbits we've been getting here and there, isn't it? Let's look at our character sheet quickly here. We don't quite have enough to advance again, though we are catching up to it. So it seems that the next step in our little dance here is to go into the underbelly and search for the White Death. What was her name? McKenna. Okay, that sounds like tons of fun. But that fun will need to wait until next time because this video is done. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like below. It really does help. Consider subscribing to the channel to be notified when I upload new content. And until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.